From the Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, there's an ongoing investigation into 2 deaths at a Southwest Harbor Inn. We'll bring you the details coming up.
Plus, police presence at Bangor's Pierce Park is causing some frustration among some residents. We'll hear from them as well.
And Democratic candidates Shenna Bellows and Graham Plattner both spoke at a town hall in Old Town. We'll have that story ahead. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We hope you had a great weekend. We'll have all the day's news coming up, but first we're going to kick things off with a check of that forecast. Beautiful start to the day today, but it looks like some rain moving in later on. Not a big washout by any means, but probably right around, maybe around noon, 1 o'clock, we'll get some showers. Tomorrow's looking nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Nice temperatures.
Temperatures up in the low 70s.
That's awesome.
That'll feel nice.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have a small craft advisory that is up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. And we also have a gale watch up along the coast as well. And that will last until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday. In the meantime, as we do check things out, we're pretty quiet along land, and we are going to stay quiet at least for a little while until we get some showers and thunderstorms going. We are seeing some activity further out towards the west, and that will be tracking off towards the east, and that's what's going to be giving us some showers and yes, some thunderstorms developing later on today. So let's check things out right now, and for now we are going to be watching for those showers and thunderstorms that will be developing later on this morning into the afternoon. We will be clearing out later on tonight, and even as we head towards tomorrow, partly cloudy sky, afternoon showers and thunderstorms possible, especially further off towards the north. Some gusty winds possible today, reaching up to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, and then backing off later on tonight. Your hourly forecast moving forward for today. Notice the rain kicking in during the afternoon period. Yes, a few rumbles of thunder possible. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, officials are investigating 2 deaths at an inn in Southwest Harbor. According to the Bar Harbor Story, the Southwest Harbor Police Department says 2 men were found deceased at the Lindenwood Inn in Southwest Harbor. 69-year-old James King, a Southwest Harbor resident and the owner of the inn, was found dead alongside 69-year-old Randy Murray of Holden. Crews arrived to the scene around 7:30 on Friday night. According to police, the deaths are being investigated as accidental, and more information is expected to come out of the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. This is a developing story, and we will bring you information as that becomes available.
A cooking incident is believed to have what caused a weekend fire at a house in Lincoln. Fire crews were called to a home on the Lee Road around 2:40 Saturday morning. Officials say heavy fire was showing when they arrived on the scene. One person was inside when the fire started, and that person was found at a neighboring property with burn injuries. That person was taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities say the home is a total loss. The cause of the fire was determined to be a cooking error.
Well, just after midnight on Saturday in St. George, officials responded to an incident where a vehicle crashed into a home. Multiple injuries were reported there. The incident occurred at the intersection of Spruce Head Road and Village Road. According to the Knox County Sheriff's Office, a 2013 Hyundai Sonata operated by 20-year-old Eliza Luce of Union was traveling south and failed to navigate a sharp corner. This led the vehicle to leave the roadway and strike a nearby house. Luce was then transported to a hospital with serious injuries. A 16-year-old passenger in the vehicle sustained life-threatening injuries and then was taken by helicopter to a trauma center. 3 other juvenile passengers, alongside 18-year-old Aiden Stalcup of South Thomaston and 18-year-old Brooklyn Hart of Belgrade, all sustained non-life-threatening injuries and were transported to a local hospital. One passenger, 19-year-old Michael Sabins of Liberty, had minor injuries and was not transported. Vehicle speed, alcohol consumption, and drug use are all believed to be contributing factors, according to police. This incident remains under investigation.
The Maine Warden Service executed a ground search in Eastbrook Saturday for a man who went missing over 9 years ago. 47-year-old Russell Burnett of Franklin was reported missing on February 23, 2017. Authorities say he was last seen approximately 2 days prior near his home in Franklin. It is believed he left on foot with his dog. Maine Public Safety spokesperson Shannon Moss described this as, quote, a routine search of a high probability area, which is frequently conducted in missing persons cases such as this. Moss adds that the public is not being asked to assist. Updates will be shared as they become available, and anyone with information on Burnett's whereabouts is asked to contact the Maine State Police.
Well, new details have emerged in a Waldo County murder case after a court affidavit was recently unsealed. Kirby Bradford is accused of killing Robert Brusso of Palermo in February of last year. Our Doug Banks with that story.
An affidavit was recently made public, and it sheds new light into the death of Robert Brusso and the man accused of killing him, Kirby Bradford.
How do you wish to plead, sir?
Not guilty.
Back in April of 2025, state police troopers were called to Brusso's Palermo home for a welfare check after friends and family were unable to reach him for about 4 to 5 weeks. Brusso's body was located atop a snowbank along the tree line next to his driveway. Police say his shirt and pants were covered in small holes consistent with bullet defects. The documents describe an incident taking place on February 8, 2025. When a Kennebec County Sheriff's deputy recovered Brusso's phone at a South China intersection after it sent out a 911 crash notification, despite the deputy seeing no signs of a crash. The deputy went to Brusso's home to return it when he says a, quote, scraggly guy told him to leave the phone with him and he'll return it to Brusso. The following day, the deputy received a voicemail from someone identifying themselves as Brusso, claiming they were in Greenville ice fishing. According to the affidavit, friends and family told police Brusso was not someone who'd go ice fishing, and Brusso's co-workers identified the voice from that voicemail as Kirby Bradford. February 8th is also the date authorities believe Brusso was murdered. The unsealed court document explains how Bradford told police he and Brusso had been friends since 1998. When investigators searched his former place of employment, they allegedly found a detailed drawing of Brusso's property where Bradford often worked. In a list, the document describes as saying, stun gun, zip ties, COVID masks, take phone, bring him somewhere out of sight, duct tape over mouth, bag over his head. During a subsequent search of his vehicle, the documents say authorities discovered a sawed-off pump shotgun with the serial number grounded off, loaded with 4 12-gauge shells, and wrapped in a sweatshirt.
According to the Waldo Judicial Center, Bradford is currently being held without bail. And as of Friday, his next court appearance is yet to be scheduled. In Belfast, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
As we previously reported, Bangor police have assigned an officer to monitor Pierce Park near the Bangor Public Library, citing concerns about illegal activity in the area. Some in the city are now expressing their frustration, especially as unhoused individuals who previously utilized the park are now having to stay on nearby sidewalks. Those in opposition to the police detail say they want those facing homelessness in Bangor to have a place to go, rather than being banned from camping in public spaces or having their encampments shuffled around.
Instead of just moving people around, finding a way to get people out of the streets, out of encampments. None of us want to see people in encampments, but if we just keep people moving around, there's not going to be any end in sight. A lot of us are maybe a missed paycheck or 2 missed paychecks or whatever away from being on the streets ourselves.
Those in the city say the issue of unhoused folks having nowhere to go is worsening with the seasonal closure of the warming shelters and other spaces.
Meanwhile, Senator Susan Collins spoke to the media at an event on Friday, unveiling a multi-million-dollar training center in Saco for first responders, for which she had secured more than $3 million in funding. She commented on multiple issues, including a vote that occurred this past Thursday, when she voted yes to ending the conflict in Iran. She says from the beginning she was clear that there's a 60-day trigger in the War Powers Act, meaning Congress and the President both have roles to play in matters of military hostilities. But at the 60-day point under the War Powers Act, Congress must either authorize military action or bring an end to it. The vote happened on Thursday while they were in session, and that vote failed 47 to 50. This is what Collins had to say on Friday.
I felt that we've accomplished a lot, but that at this point, the administration has not presented a clear plan for the rest of its goals and for bringing this conflict to an end. And so I voted to terminate military hostilities until that happens.
Well, with June primary elections now about a month away, Democratic candidate Shanna Bellows and Graham Plattner are conveying a similar message that they are bold progressives who will fight for Mainers. The two spoke at a town hall event in Old Town last night. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
Cheers from supporters erupted at a town hall in Old Town Sunday as U.S. Senate candidate Graham Plattner and candidate for Maine Governor Shanna Bellows took the stage together.
I'm running for governor, not only to stand up to Trump, not only to protect democracy, but to deliver on an economic New Deal for Maine.
This town hall comes right on the heels of Governor Janet Mills' announcement that she has suspended her campaign for U.S. Senate, positioning Plattner as the presumptive nominee.
The reason that I get to stand up here and say that I am the presumptive nominee to beat Susan Collins is because of all of you.
The event was hosted by the Maine People's Alliance, which has officially endorsed both candidates.
They both are very clear about what they want. They're not performative. They are very clear on what their values are and where they stand.
The Democratic candidates fielded questions from community members on affordability, housing, transgender rights, and much more, emphasizing their positions on policy changes they believe need to happen to confront pressing issues.
On the federal level, ICE needs to be stripped of all of its funding and burned to the ground.
I truly believe that they are running to help the working class people of Maine make a better life for themselves.
U.S. Senate candidate David Costello and write-in candidate Andrea LaFlemme are also hoping to obtain the Democratic nominee on June 9th. That's also when Bellows will face off against the large list of Democratic candidates vying to be Maine's next governor.
I really hope people are thinking about the future and hope for the future and sending people to the State House and to Washington who can represent us as Mainers.
In Old Town, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, the time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a snack bar in Aurora is now open again after being closed for nearly 5 years.
We'll visit there coming up, but first another check of that forecast. A nice day ahead today until the clouds move in later on. Chance of rain later on. Overall, a nice start to the day.
Yes.
We'll settle on that.
We will.
Yeah, tonight will be partly cloudy with lows in the low 40s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs around 72 degrees. We'll be right back.
It doesn't matter how big or small my question might be. I know that there's going to be somebody there that can help guide me in the right direction. You're not just an account number to them. You're a person, and it feels like that. I'm a member.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson and Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson and Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
When you get a little shout out at work, melt into your moment. Irresistibly smooth Lindor.
From me, the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
You come to a credit union to work because you actually like helping people.
You get to be a part of really life-changing moments.
It builds a really rewarding professional career.
And that's why I like credit unions.
Fox tonight.
Are you guys ready to play?
It's a night of big brains and big balls.
Let's get it on!
Host Joel McHale kicks things off with the 1% Club.
What happened? They missed little Joel. Happens with my wife all the time.
Then make a splash. as Jay Farrow hosts the Quiz with Balls.
Which of these are real schools?
I've dealt with a few clowns in my life. I swear they all go to the same school.
The 1% Club, followed by the Quiz with Balls, tonight on Fox.
The month of May is now well underway, and as warmer temperatures become a reality, the Maine Bureau of Highway Safety is urging parents and caregivers to educate themselves about the dangers of leaving a child in a hot vehicle. The Bureau says many people do not understand how quickly cars can heat up and become highly dangerous for kids and pets. They say in just 10 minutes, a car can heat up as much as 20 degrees, and they say rolling down a window actually does surprisingly little to keep a car cool, even on a day when the temperature isn't especially hot. They also say parking in shaded areas is not really a solution and can still lead to a tragedy. They're
So really making sure that before they leave their vehicle, they are stopping, they're looking in the back seat before they lock their car to make sure that there is no child that has been forgotten or, may have accidentally gotten into their car. Maybe they don't know any of those circumstances.
Davis says if you see a dangerous situation unfolding with a parked car and a child, first see if the child is awake and responsive. If they are, you can try and locate the parents while trying to monitor the child in the meantime. But if the child does appear to be in distress and is not responsive, you should call 911 and try to get into that car. Maine does have a Good Samaritan law to protect those who try to help.
27 outstanding students from technical institutions across the state were honored in a ceremony over the weekend. Maine Administrators of Career and Technical Education, also known as MACT, held a ceremony at Eastern Maine Community College to recognize those who were named Students of the Year for each of Maine's technical schools.
Our students that come in and look at these different careers, and whether it's a hard trade or traditional hard trade or whether it's more something in a different area, our students are really getting after it and they know they're our future.
I think it's just an overwhelming support and gratitude to show what the Tech Center has to offer, all the support from your instructors just to help build you up and get you ready to enter the workforce or college.
Organizers say the group represents the next generation of Maine's trade workers. Those students received over $40,000 in scholarships sponsored by local businesses and organizations.
Congratulations to them. Well, meanwhile, a beloved local snack spot in Aurora that's been closed for 5 years has now officially reopened. Before it was a restaurant, Mace's was a general store. Then it became a local eatery in 2003. But Mace's has been a part of the community for over 80 years. The restaurant has all your favorites, including fried clams and lobster rolls, and of course, ice cream as well. They say some logistical issues kept them from opening last summer. It's been a long time coming, getting that place reopened.
We've had so much traction to our social media and all of that, and it's super exciting. We've been a little bit nervous about it just because it's a lot and more than we're used to. And I've worked here since I was 12, and I have never seen this many people coming forward and talking about it and being this excited. So we're super excited for it. And
well, they are now open 11 till 8 every day from May until roughly October. Head on up Route 9, the old airline.
Old airline.
Go get yourself some fried clams and some French fries or something.
Look, I might be biased, but they have fantastic lobster rolls.
You grew up kind of going there, didn't you?
Yes, when they were open throughout my childhood, and they have great burgers, great food, and of course the ice cream too.
Yeah, right.
That's the win right there.
I might have to check it out for myself.
You definitely should. The time now is 8:19. After the break, global health officials are addressing a possible outbreak of a rare infection on a cruise ship in the Atlantic.
We'll have the latest coming up, plus major changes could be coming to the Brewer River Walk in the future. We'll explain ahead on Good Morning Maine.
We need to stop the trafficking of fentanyl. We've had serious issues. Our death rate climbed tremendously.
Susan Collins successfully fought to give law enforcement the critical tools they need to combat fentanyl traffickers.
And I don't know anybody else as sincere as Susan Collins is about keeping our young people and our communities safe. Thank you, Senator Collins, for delivering when it matters most.
Don't know what I'm doing. What's a manometer? Man-eater. Manometer. Let's do this. Help. Send someone. I can't do this anymore. Is it supposed to make that noise?
Definitely not, but we can fix it.
Okay.
Everyone deserves to be connected. Big cities, small towns, everywhere in between. And staying connected shouldn't break the bank. That's why T-Mobile and US Cellular have joined forces. And now that we've combined networks, T-Mobile covers more places than ever before. America's best network just got bigger. Join now and your plan price is guaranteed for 5 years. T-Mobile and US Cellular, better together.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
The Brewer Riverwalk has become a major city attraction, and with plans to implement new zoning, officials say they hope to see the waterfront area transform into an even more vibrant and walkable hub.
Our Grace Blanchard explains.
Major changes could be coming to the Brewer Riverwalk over the next decade.
The city has done a lot of the improvements, such as the Riverwalk and some parking and amphitheaters, and now we're looking at the private lots, getting those into uses that fit to a waterfront zoning district to be more vibrant and walkable.
City officials are currently in the early stages of implementing new zoning that they hope will help them reshape the waterfront area.
The City of Brewer has several pockets of what's called CB, convenience business zoning. So we're looking at taking this one pocket of CB and renaming it a waterfront zoning district and making these changes to that.
With new development coming into Brewer, new businesses constantly coming into Brewer, we felt like this was the right time to do that.
The Riverwalk has become a city centerpiece. This latest effort aims to create a community hub by encouraging pedestrian-friendly businesses and restaurants to set up shop along the river.
We want to make it a place that is that continues to be safe, that continues to be usable, that continues to attract people from throughout the region and throughout the state.
The city planner says they have been gathering public input, which they brought to the council this week.
We had so many positive comments about our Riverwalk and the waterfront area, the amenities we've installed, so we just hope it continues and is the hub for Brewer.
The council is expected to vote on the new zoning later this spring. In Brewer, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, I love going down to the Brewer waterfront there.
It's beautiful.
They've done a great job down there. It'd be great to see what they do in the years to come.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, the time now is 8:23. Let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things. We have advisories posted. This right here is a gale watch that will last until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday along the coast. Also, a small craft advisory that will last until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. So some active surf to keep an eye on. Already picking up at around 2 to 4 feet according to the buoys. Also notice to the north and east is a little bit active as well. Look at this farther out towards sea. 7 to 20 foot wave heights. That's a sharp change, right? And that's being noted farther out towards sea. But meanwhile on land it is pretty quiet out there this morning. The area low pressure is moving off towards the north and east. There's a little more activity off towards the west There it is right there. And that is going to be moving in our direction, giving us some rain showers and, yes, a few rumbles of thunder coming up later on today. And that will start to move in during the afternoon period. It will start to back off later on tonight. And then once we head towards tomorrow, a partly cloudy sky. And notice as we head towards the evening time frame, you're going to be noticing some showers and storms late afternoon to the evening time frame. And then we'll push that through. But the clouds linger, though, with more precipitation as we head towards through Wednesday. So in the short term, this is at least through Tuesday morning, around 1/10 of an inch of rain possible. But as I run this through at least Thursday, a decent amount of rainfall will be on the way yet again, which again is good news to make more of a dent in the drought across the state, which we definitely want to make that dent as some areas see some drought relief. Other areas definitely need some relief as well. Other parts of the U.S. definitely dealing with drought. But for today, all right, increasing clouds, some showers and storms with highs in the low 60s and that west wind at around 25 miles per hour. By tonight, we have low 40s under a partly cloudy sky and that south breeze at around 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, partly cloudy, some afternoon showers and storms with highs in the low 70s and that south wind gusting up to around 35 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. And for your Wednesday, some rain chances with highs in the low 60s. Some morning rain chances Thursday, then remaining mostly cloudy with highs also in the low 60s, and then upper 50s for your Friday with a chance for rain.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
At Planet Fitness, we know how important it is to take care of both your mind and body. That's why now through May 15th, all new members get free massage amenities all month long. So you can reset, recover, and leave feeling stronger than when you came in.
Did you just become a morning person?
Maybe. Join the club for just $1 down, $15 a month, and get free massage amenities for the month of May. No commitment. Deal ends May 15th.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Nothing is more comforting than a mother's love, and ABC7 and Fox 22 want you to share the love of mothers with a special promotion. Register to win prizes from some great local businesses. Our special Mother's Day promotion is brought to you by Joe's Furniture in Newport, Luigi and Fredericks in Bangor, and Color Concepts in Bangor. All you have to do is go to our contest page, foxbangor.com, and register to win.
Now to the war in Iran and gas prices topping $5 per gallon in several states. There's a new plan today to help oil tankers safely exit the Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Lionel Moyes reports in New York.
New reports of a tanker hit by projectiles near the Strait of Hormuz hours after another vessel was reportedly attacked by small boats. The incident's coming as President Trump announces Project Freedom, a U.S. military plan starting today that will offer what's being described as a defensive umbrella. ABC News senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez.
A defensive shield would essentially provide cover, air cover, some kind of ballistic missile defense for any ships transiting through or out of the Strait of Hormuz, without actually the U.S. providing any escort ships like destroyers.
Ships have been stuck, unwilling to move because of safety concerns, but also because insurance companies have refused to insure them.
It's possible this is exactly what will soothe the concerns from those insurance companies, but the real concern for them is just these mines. They're not sure where these mines may be.
Peace talks are at a deadlock. President Trump calling Iran's new proposal unacceptable, the plan reportedly calling for the U.S. to lift the naval blockade and sanctions, but making no mention of ending its nuclear program.
I used to fill up twice a month. Now I try to drive a little less. It's kind of a pain.
Here at home, the national average of gas is now $4.45 a gallon. The West Coast already paying well over $5. Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio are approaching that mark. The president dismissing critics on affordability and rising prices amid the war.
I come into office and I say, wow, look at how high these prices are. And the Democrats start screaming, affordability, affordability. They're the ones that caused the problem. I'll tell you one thing, they got one good line of
Experts are warning of a second wave of war-related inflation, which could see groceries, medicine, beauty products, and clothing get even more expensive, not just because of transportation costs, but because of the higher costs of packaging and materials derived from petroleum, like polyester and nylon for clothes. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
Now to a mass shooting at a campground in Oklahoma. We're told at least 10 victims have been rushed to a hospital there. ABC Sophie Flay has the details.
Police north of Oklahoma City say multiple people are injured after a mass shooting at a lakeside party.
Make sure they understand we got like 15 gunshot victims.
Witnesses say around 9 p.m., a group of young adults were gathered at a pavilion near Lake Arcadia in Edmond.
We received multiple calls on shootings, shots fired, multiple shots.
Jason Hearn heard the gunfire.
I would guesstimate probably 200 to 300 rounds were shot up, is what it seemed like.
He says he ran to the pavilion to get help.
I could see people with leg wounds. There was one young lady that had a head wound but was still breathing.
At least 10 victims were rushed to hospitals and ambulances, with more people driving themselves. Witnesses say a fight broke out at a party before the shooting.
These kids came out to have probably a good time, and for this to break out, I know that wasn't what they expected, and it's just tragic.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, now to a developing story concerning a cruise ship in the Atlantic. 3 passenger deaths are now reported from a rare infection. Once again, ABC Sophie Flay with more.
This morning, global health officials responding to a suspected outbreak of the rare and deadly hantavirus infection on a cruise ship in the Atlantic. The Dutch ship Hondius, with about 150 tourists on board, is now sitting off Africa's west coast. 3 passengers, including an elderly couple, have died. Another passenger is in intensive care. Authorities not allowing anyone else off the ship. Oceanwide Expeditions, which operates the vessel, says it's working with authorities, establishing the full facts and working on appropriate medical care, screening, and next steps. People typically get sick with hantavirus after contact with rats or mice. It gained attention after the late actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy were found dead in New Mexico last year. It was determined she had died from hantavirus.
Hantavirus is not typically infected person to person, and hantavirus is typically transmitted when an individual disrupts, like, let's say, nesting material or tries to clean up rodent feces or urine or saliva, and that they start inhaling all those particles that's infected with hantavirus. And sometimes you can also get scratches and bites from the rodents as well.
There is no specific treatment or cure, but early medication intervention can increase the chance of survival.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
And now to a rare incident involving a passenger jet landing outside New York City. Take a look at this. A truck driver was caught in the middle of it. It was just after 2 o'clock when a driver of a bakery truck was driving down the New Jersey Turnpike when a plane catches his eye out of the passenger window. A United flight about to land at Newark Airport was coming in low and hit a light pole. The pole then crashing into that bakery truck. Reports say the driver suffered from shattered glass injuries but is doing fine. The plane was also damaged before taxiing to the gate, and United says its maintenance team is now evaluating that plane.
How terrifying would that be?
Yeah, close call indeed.
Very close call. Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, a century of memories and joy filled the Sylvia Ross home as one woman celebrates her 100th birthday.
We'll join the celebration coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Welcome to outdoor living. Welcome to Granville Stone and Hearth. Goodness knows we've been cooped up long enough. Make plans now to enjoy the outside of your home, too. Come to Granville and see, touch, and imagine what you can do in your backyard. Light a path, light a fire, grill a meal, sit a bit. It's all in stock. There's a staycation right outside your door with expert help from Granville, one of the largest outdoor living suppliers in Maine. Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2026, and this is also Star Wars Day.
May the Force be with you. There's no question the Star Wars movie franchise changed Hollywood forever. The first movie had a low budget and was expected to be a flop, but it turned out to be a major hit that inspired generations of viewers. The first Star Wars Day took place in 2011, and it's been celebrated on May the 4th ever since.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th.
You'll hear that a lot today.
Sure will.
I was one of those. I was a big Star Wars kid, loved it.
Yeah.
And on this day, some people actually have big Star Wars parties and theme
that's
thing
fun.
going on. So
Yeah. Wonder if anyone will be doing that today.
I don't know. Let me know if you do.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
We'll come.
I'll bring my lightsaber with me. All right, time for some history. It was on this date back in 1865. President Abraham Lincoln was laid to rest in his hometown of Springfield, Illinois. In 1904, the United States took over construction of the Panama Canal from France. And in 1932 on this date, infamous gangster Al Capone was sent to an Atlanta prison after his conviction for tax evasion. While there, he smuggled in cash and received special treatment, including decorations for his cell, cigars, and the use of a typewriter. He even played a banjo in the prison band. Capone was later transferred to the newly established prison on Alcatraz Island.
Fully furnished prison cell right there.
It's
Got
his-
the lampshades, the nice rug. It looks
His home away from
comfortable.
home.
I guess so.
If this was today, he'd have a computer and a flat screen and
He
a
sure would.
refrigerator and all that in there. And in 1959 on this date, the first Grammy Awards took place.
And in 1961, the first group of Freedom Riders left Washington, D.C. to challenge racial segregation on interstate buses. In 1964, the soap opera Another World debuted on television. And in 1970, Ohio National Guardsmen opened fire on student war demonstrators at Kent University. 4 students were killed and 9 others were injured. The tragedy was a watershed moment at the time when the nation was divided by the Vietnam War and strengthened the anti-war movement. And lastly, in 1998, Unabomber Theodore Kaczynski was given 4 life sentences for a series of bombings.
Today's birthdays include country superstar Randy Travis, who is 67 today. Comedian Anna Gasteyer turns 59. You'll remember her from Saturday Night Live and movies, all kinds of things. And reporter Erin Andrews, who grew up in the town of Lewiston, Maine, is 48 years old today.
Our Maine native.
Yeah, so happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have a small craft advisory that is up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. And we also have a gale watch up along the coast as well. And that will last until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday. In the meantime, time as we do check things out. We're pretty quiet along land, and we are going to stay quiet at least for a little while until we get some showers and thunderstorms going. We are seeing some activity further out towards the west, and that will be tracking off towards the east, and that's what's going to be giving us some showers and, yes, some thunderstorms developing later on today. So let's check things out right now, and for now we are going to be watching for those showers and thunderstorms that will be developing later on this morning into the afternoon. We will be clearing out later on tonight, and even as we head towards tomorrow, a partly cloudy sky, afternoon showers and thunderstorms possible, especially further off towards the north. Some gusty winds possible today, reaching up to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, and then backing off later on tonight. Your hourly forecast moving forward for today. Notice the rain kicking in during the afternoon period. Yes, a few rumbles of thunder possible. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Leaders in Westbrook are hoping to make their city more walkable and livable.
The third annual Discover Gala raised money to make that happen. Discover Downtown Westbrook put on a gala at the Rock Row Health Campus. It's a fundraising event to make Westbrook a thriving destination.
We want to revitalize our downtown and our main street so that our businesses thrive, that we are a walking community, and we want people to feel like downtown is for them, that they belong in the downtown and that they have a community around them that supports them and loves them.
Organizers also say events like these help build community spirit. Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports.
Don't go away.
Chevy drivers need a truck that shows up the same way they do. That's why Chevy Silverado is #1 in manufacturer loyalty. So they can go where others won't and always get it done. And as long as Chevy people keep showing up, we'll keep building trucks that do the same.
Now, well-qualified buyers can get 0% financing or $6,000 total cash allowance on this Silverado. Plus, get an additional $1,000 when you trade in an eligible vehicle. And now, eligible military personnel can get $1,000 bonus cash on most Chevy models.
We need to get rid of Susan Collins. She is the epitome of the establishment politician who serves the donors and serves herself. Who is cynical and duplicitous. Who is willing to say one thing and do another. We have to shed her from our politics. Quite frankly, we have to shed all the people like her. I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic first, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is the perfect line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. This is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
4 international territories compete for the title of Global Master Chef.
My 3 daughters are watching.
Tell them I say hi. Master Chef Global Gauntlet, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. Let's begin our block with a pair of Boston teams playing in crucial playoff games. We'll start with the Celtics, who played Game 7 in their series versus Philly on Saturday. No better phrase in sports than Game 7 for Philly. They start on a 9-0 run capped off by this VJ Edgecombe 3. Celtics finally get on the board when Baylor Shireman finds Derek White in the corner, and you know the deal. It goes down, but the Sixers would continue to build on their lead. And Edgecombe is going to find Joel Embiid at the stripe for an easy 2-pointer. He had a great night. Celtics claw back, though, and bring the game within 2. Again, White hits a triple. Big-time shot for number 9, still a 2-point game. And then playoff P, Paul George drains this tray, and the Sixers go up into the half with the lead. And now into the third quarter, Pritchard dishes for Sam Hauser. His three is going to fall, and the Celtics stay in it. Philly was on it offensively, though. A few kicks around the horn to Edgecombe. A nice fake, and here is his three-pointer, and it falls again. Big lead for Philly, but again the C's claw back, and who else but Derek White? He brings the game within one with this triple, but when it mattered most, Embiid and Tyrese Maxey locked it down, and the Boston Celtics are eliminated by a score of 109-100 in Game 7. Now let's check in with the Bruins, who were eliminated from playoff contention after their Game 6 loss to Buffalo on Friday. The game's momentum was tipped in Buffalo's favor early when Rasmus Dahlin sliced a pass in front of the net for Alex Tuch, who tipped it in for the game's first goal. They would double that score with a Matthias Samuelsson goal later in the first period. Boston did bring some life back to the Garden in the second period, though, when David Pastrnak scored on a beautiful one-timer, bringing the game back within one goal. But Buffalo would ultimately end Boston's season in the third period. Head coach Marco Sturm says despite the outcome, he is very proud of his guys.
These guys care, I can tell you that. We're here for a reason. We're here, played a hell of a season because of that. The character we have in that room, and unfortunately came up short.
Man, just a rough weekend for Boston fans. Hey, you still have the Red Sox for right now, and the Patriots will be coming up here in a few months. Let's come back local now to Husson University, where the women's lacrosse team hosted the Maine Maritime Academy Mariners for the North Atlantic Conference Championship. A rematch of last year's title game. Back-to-back, the road to back-to-back starts for Husson early as Avery Baker gets things started with a free position goal, and it's 1-0 Eagles. A few minutes later, though, they double that score when Layla Martinez nets a goal of her own, and she finishes with a hat trick in this game. Towards the end of the first half, Husson goes up 3 when Kate Bumke takes a jump shot, and it hits off the goalie's head for the score. MMA ties the game before the horn sounds with this goal from Lauren Robinson, and it is 7-7. To the fourth quarter now, after a Husson run, Lillian DeVersey brings the game back within one. It is 10-9. But goals by Reese Sullivan and Bumke close out this game for Husson, and the Eagles go back-to-back. They win 12-9. Let's keep it local here in Bangor, where the Rams head baseball coach is in the midst of his final season with the team. Dave Morris has served as a coach for the Rams for almost 15 years now and has announced that 2026 will be his final season at the helm of the Bangor baseball team. In 2017 and 2018, Morris led the Rams to back-to-back state titles, and he says the most rewarding part of his time with Bangor has been the relationships he's formed with both the athletes and the staff.
I've just been blessed to be around a lot of great people, a lot of great coaches, a lot of great staff. We're just very fortunate at Bangor High School. I love Bangor. Had a great time in Brewer, but just most importantly, it's just the players in both communities. I've just been a really lucky person.
Seniors Kyle Johnson and Zach Coda have played for Morris for all 4 years of high school, and they say Morris is not only setting a great example on the field, but off it as well.
There's something that he preaches every day to us is nobody's bigger than the program, and he's a prime example of that.
For the last 4 years, I've got to call him my coach, and it's sad to see him go, but I'm glad that we get one more ride together.
Folks, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Chevy drivers need a truck that shows up the same way they do. That's why Chevy Silverado is #1 in manufacturer loyalty. So they can go where others won't and always get it done. And as long as Chevy people keep showing up, we'll keep building trucks that do the same.
Now, well-qualified buyers can get 0% financing or $6,000 total cash allowance on this Silverado. Plus, get an additional $1,000 when you trade in an eligible vehicle. And now, eligible military personnel can get $1,000 bonus cash on most Chevy models.
With over 30 years of experience, Patriot General Contractors knows how to get your home renovation project done right. Our certified contractors can help you build, redesign, or finish the project of your dreams. Check out Facebook page for reviews and visit patriotgeneralcontractors.com to schedule your quote today. Patriot General Contractors, redesigning your properties for the future.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
Where every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
You had me a trash panda. That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it. 25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. A century of life was celebrated at Sylvia Ross' home when staff and residents came together to honor one woman's 100th birthday.
Our Alexa Kennedy has the story.
You're on TV. What would you like to say to the world?
Oh. Beverly Antonitis, a resident at Sylvia Ross' home, celebrated a major milestone Friday as she turned 100 years old. Staff and fellow residents marked the occasion with a special birthday celebration, including cake and a shared lunch in her honor. Family members say the party is a testament to her long, impactful life in the loving community that has grown around her.
It's a milestone. Not everyone gets there, and when it happens, we want to celebrate them.
Seeing the things that she's seen and lived through the things that she's lived through is just amazing.
Smith says the celebration featured numerous personal touches, including a live harpist to remember Beverly's time in the Bangor Symphony Orchestra, and her favorite meal, shrimp scampi.
I feel extremely grateful.
Grant says Beverly's family surprised her by decorating her room and walker.
I learned a lot from her over the years, and she's always so clever and funny. I think it just shows that there's so many people who care about her.
Andrew says she had a huge impact on his life, remembering the Thanksgivings where she taught him how to cook.
She seems very grateful that everybody has come together and put in the effort to make this happen.
Beverly says she had one piece of advice to share after a century of life.
Yeah, practice. You work hard and you accomplish wondrous things.
In Bangor, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Happy birthday to her.
I like her sash.
Yeah.
100 and fabulous.
Hopefully she had a great day.
Yes. Yeah. Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, let's get into things. We have advisories posted. This right here is a gale watch that will last until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Wednesday along the coast. Also, a small craft advisory that will last until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. So some active surf to keep an eye on. Already picking up at around 2 to 4 feet according to the buoys. Also notice to the north and east is a little bit active as well. Look at this farther out towards sea. 7 to 20 foot wave heights. That's a sharp change, right? And that's being noted farther out towards sea. But meanwhile on land it is pretty quiet out there this morning. The area low pressure is moving off towards the north and east. There's a little more activity off towards the west. There it is right there, and that is going to be moving in our direction, giving us some rain showers and yes, a few rumbles of thunder coming up later on today, and that will start to move in during the afternoon period. It will start to back off later on tonight, and then once we head towards tomorrow, a partly cloudy sky. And notice as we head towards the evening time frame, you're going to be noticing some showers and storms late afternoon to the evening time frame, and then we'll push that through, but the clouds linger though with more precipitation condition as we head towards your Wednesday. So in the short term, this is at least through Tuesday morning, around a 1/10 of an inch of rain possible. But as I run this through at least Thursday, a decent amount of rainfall will be on the way yet again, which again is good news to make more of a dent in the drought across the state, which we definitely want to make that dent. As some areas see some drought relief, other areas definitely need some relief as well. Other parts of the U.S. definitely dealing with drought. But for today, all right, increasing clouds, some showers and storms with highs in the low 60s and that west wind at around 25 miles per hour. By tonight, we have low 40s under a partly cloudy sky and that south breeze at around 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, partly cloudy, some afternoon showers and storms with highs in the low 70s and that south wind gusting up to around 35 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. And for your Wednesday, some rain chances with highs in the low 60s. Some morning rain chances Thursday, then remaining mostly cloudy with highs also in the low 60s, and then upper 50s for your Friday with a chance for rain.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
We need to get rid of Susan Collins. She is the epitome of the establishment politician who serves the donors and serves herself. Who is cynical and duplicitous. Who is willing to say one thing and do another. We have to shed her from our politics. Quite frankly, we have to shed all the people like her. I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
Get ready for mowing season, for hauling season, and exploring season. Get ready for tearing it up, cutting it down, and working all around season. Because it's bad boy season, all year long. Bad boy, power, performance, attitude.
SpaceX sends a new satellite into orbit that may help with the future of agriculture and assist in future disaster warnings. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket blasted off the launch pad in the pitch black of the early morning on Sunday from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Its mission was to deploy a satellite that will take high-resolution images of Earth and provide agricultural observations. The satellite will also assist in disaster management, including developing tsunamis early in their warning systems. The satellite was developed by Korea Aerospace Industries and was originally scheduled for a mission into space on a Russian rocket in 2022, but was delayed after Russia invaded Ukraine. SpaceX also later deployed a total of 45 payloads into orbit. How neat is that?
Well, Latin performer Shakira performs a free concert at a popular beach in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, for millions of fans. The city's mayor said around 2 million people attended the Colombian superstar's free concert on the Copacabana beach on Saturday. Drone footage captures some of the concert where Shakira performed hits including Hips Don't Lie, La Tortura, and La Bicicleta. The performance even featured a drone show that started with the flying devices imitating different shapes. According to a study by the City Hall and Rio Tour, the municipality's tourism company says Shakira's show could generate around $155 million for Rio de Janeiro's economy. The concert was part of Shakira's Women No Longer Cry World Tour.
Look at how many people are on that beach.
It's all free of charge, too.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, more than 1,000 beagles at a Wisconsin dog breeding and research facility are now finding new homes. Big Dog Ranch and Rescue, in partnership with the Center for a Humane Economy, negotiated a confidential agreement to purchase 1,500 dogs for an undisclosed price from Riglin Farms. This comes after the facility agreed back in October to give up its state breeding license as of the 1st of July, as part of a deal to avoid felony animal mistreatment charges. Riglin Farms denies ever mistreating its animals. However, a special prosecutor determined the company performed eye procedures that violated state veterinary standards. Protesters also targeted the facility in April and attempted to break in before being stopped by police. The first of the 300 dogs were taken to an area in Wisconsin where they are being vaccinated, microchipped, spayed or neutered, and preparing for their transport.
Glad the little doggies are going to get new
Yes,
homes.
me too.
They're so cute.
They are. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, her newspaper columns force readers to face the really hard questions, like why do I still have this newspaper subscription? It's S.E. Cup. And joining S.E. are sisters Brianna and Shemaya. He plays a savvy executive producer on Hacks. So why is he such an inept executive producer in real life? It's Dan Bogatinsky. And joining him are our returning champions college friends Whitney and Katie. Now here's your host, Meredith.